shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. Living as a desert bean. Bean! Welcome to my bean stream. Today, on the bean stream, we will be transferring all of my Thai constellation babies. A whole bunch of them. And they are all acclimated, fully acclimated. And we're transferring them into soil. So I'm going to be taking them out of the fluval, which is this little pumice rock that I have here, this little volcanic rock. And we're going to put them in soil so that they can get their nutrients and start to grow into big, strong, beautiful constellation leaves. This one's already beautiful. Alright, so it's going to be a pretty chill stream. Just enjoy. I might talk to my babies here and there. Falling apart right now, it seems. Let's make sure it stays. Alright, there. Perfect. Alright. Now we might be able to chill. So I pre-mixed my soil. I have some potting soil, maybe 50%, and a little bit of cocoa peat, maybe 10%, and then 20% moss, sphagnum moss, and another 20% perlite. Maybe a little off, but about. Not sure how many I want per container, but I go for the dry ones first. I might do 12 per container, maybe 11. They all have some pretty good roots. They've been in fluval for maybe, I don't know, a couple months max. Not long. Just long enough for them to get used to being out of the gel. dual cam. Oh, I see what's happening here. I see this dual cam activity. You know, if you're chatting with me, I can't see anything for some reason. Why is this happening? Interesting. Hold on, I need to fix this. Oh, yeah, I can see your chat in one place, but I can't see your chat in the other. What's going on with my chat? My chat's broken. Oh, yeah, I can see your chat in one place, but I can't see your chat in the other. Proceed. Okay, now I can see it. I didn't even know you're there. Hi. Bean dance, you're late. The bean dance happened like 10 minutes ago. Hold on, I need my soda and then we can do a bean dance. You paid? I don't get paid for this shit. Friend! It's gonna be all muddy now. With your bean points? Alright. Okay. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. See my shape? Shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. Living as a disco bean. Bling! How's that bean dance? Oh no, I stopped my music. Okay, back to my planties. Yeah, I'm gonna do 11 per container. It's an odd number, but that's okay. Oh, so by the way, your plant, got a phone call from Customs today. Canadian Customs. Canadian Customs does not allow me to ship my plants to Canada. They want me to disinfect it and have a sanitary certificate. Because apparently I'm not sanitary. And I just don't have a sanitary certificate. So your plant's coming back and we're going to have to open it together like I said. And I'll just have to grow your plant some more. Maybe you'll have to come and pick it up. Put it in your pocket and take it on the plane. Oh, it still says the Desert Bean song. Living as a desert bean. No, I said the disco bean. And it's recorded. I can go back and watch. I probably did say the desert bean. You want to see the last plant I smuggled? I won't say where I smuggled it from. This one, she's growing up. Look at those fun colors. So these two leaves are new since the smuggling. You can kind of tell they're greener. The other ones are kind of gray. Smuggling. I made sure there were no bugs and etc. and all of the above, you know, all the good stuff. Alright. Okay, so the reason I'm putting all of my babies together this time is because I just can't keep track of my plants anymore. I can't keep up with them anymore, and watering them individually in all these little containers is driving me insane. So the plan is to combine them. That way they will help each other. In case I overwater, then there's other plants to drink things up here. Should be better. Might have been from somewhere around there. Technically it was from the neighboring country, but I might have smuggled it through multiple places. All you gotta do is put your plant in a sandwich and then smuggle your sandwich. It's like a lettuce at that point, you know? Smuggle your plant in a sandwich. Okay. Oh my god, this poor baby. It's all underwatered and like dead. See, you think that you can just irrigate the plants, but you can't do that because they're just different, as in like they actually drink different amounts of water based on the ones that are more green or less green, a little bit bigger leaves, a little bit taller, more roots, less roots. Every single one of them is just too different. So even if you have an irrigation system for the little teeny ones, you can easily overdo it. So when they're bigger, that's easier. But when they're teeny, they're finicky. This though should make them less finicky if I have them all combined, because then they work as a little bit of a bigger plant you can think of. Not really, but my little babies, they're all growing up. You know, these are super cheap nowadays in Lowe's. Some people are getting these plants, like huge sizes, for like $100, $150. It's pretty awesome. There's all these happy plant people out there right now. Lowe's in Georgia had some massive Thai constellations for like $150. This plant looks different than the others. Put that one back. I have a feeling that's not a regular type constellation. Oh no, I hope I didn't mix my plants. This looks like an aurea. Oh dear lordy. Did I mix them? It just has more yellow leaves. It just doesn't look right. Thai constellations have like cream colored leaves and sage colors. This one's like yellow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is one of my aureas. Mixing things up here. My stream's all messed up. Per usual. Okay. I did, what, 2 dishes? So that's 22. I have no idea how many I have. I want to try to keep track because I need to take a little inventory of all my plants, so I don't do things like that where I mix them up and don't know which plant's which. I think I'm going to have to put more than 11 per batch because I don't have enough of these trays. Oh my god, these 2 poor babies were trying to root themselves. This little teeny thing. So we're gonna do 10 per container. I mean, not 10. What was I doing? 11, so we're gonna have to do 13 per container. Let's go back to this. There's 11, 12, and 13. Some of these have pretty colors. Okay, so that one has 13. Now this one will have 13. All right, let's do a little watering for these. Where is the water? I'm just gonna make sure that each one of them at least stays up. So these little guys were already underwatered. So I'm actually gonna add extra water. The soil itself was really dry to start with, so it might seem like a lot, but it's not. Don't overwater your babies though. this one's completely done. And I will have 13 per container. This one has it prettier. There's a lot of variation in these. So that's 13 and 13, that's 26. Let's see how many more we can get. So yeah, I'm convinced that this is a Monstera aurea, not one of my Thai constellations. I can also tell the leaves grow differently. They grow more like, I don't know, pinnate shaped than heart shaped, like longer, banana-like. Banana. Okay. So this one, I'm actually gonna find a little special spot for it. We're gonna take some of this soil. Dusty, dusty. Okay. So tiny. Gonna go with the others. sage colors, real pretty. Pretty colors. Alright. Let's make some room here. I'm overcrowding myself. Alright. Doing 13. I'm trying to put their roots kind of opposite directions so that they don't wrap around each other or wrap around the same thing. But monsteras tend to have such big roots that I'm pretty sure they'll find each other no matter what. And all of these have some pretty healthy roots. They're pretty new and fresh little white roots full of hairs. It's all stuck to the flu ball. You could take the flu ball off of them, but I rather not disrupt the roots, so I just bury it just like that. I don't know if it's bad or not. I don't care. My plants do just fine. I don't think it could be very bad, but I could see it, like, I don't know, doing something. Changing something about the plant, I'm sure. Ooh, this one's pretty. I like its colors. I'm putting like the teeny underwatered ones in the center because the soil is more likely to dry out on the edges. And then I'm taking like the healthier ones. Why did I pull that out of the ground? That one was already planted. Taking the healthier ones and putting them on the outside. So are you gonna grow one of these little teeny plants at home? And start your own teeny baby? Do I send you one? I have to order it from there. From there to there. dark, syrupy, bubbly, so sweet, so cold, so yummy. Well, apparently I put 14 in this one, not 13. So I'm going to pull one out because it's going to throw off my counts. Which one? This one. Move this one over a little. Okay. Apparently I don't know how to count. Wiggly bean. I've been trying to teach a string bean dance, a long bean dance to someone so that they can dance with me when they're on stream, but I don't know if it's happening. They dance off the camera, but they won't dance on camera. Wiggly bean. Okay, I'm gonna move this out of my way. I hear the water bottle sound is crazy on stream. I actually haven't listened to it. I gotta do it sometime. Just rewatch it until the water bottle sounds. There you go. Power. Blasting power. something like a good wash bottle. I like this one. It's the right size for my hand. I've had a lot of like big and small, and this is just the right size. Just the right size. Need 2 more. Ooh. This one's maybe one of my favorites. The small leaf, this leaf. I like that leaf. Very constellation-like. Yeah, some people like the half moons and the white blotches, like these. They're not always my favorite. Too much white. Not enough blending. I like it blended. And the plant struggles anyways when it has that much patches without chlorophyll. Okay. So babies, this is another set of 13. And at this point, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fill up a whole other bin with just ties, so it seems like I did have about 50 of these or so. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bins, and they have 13 each, so that's 42, 52. It's 52 little babies plus these 4, 56. Let's see if I can find any more. I don't want to have any loose babies anywhere. I want them all in one spot. And I also need another container. one more. So it's 57. And then I'm going to make a tray with some of my aureas that are also ready to be transferred over. So with the Fluval, what I'll do with it afterwards is rinse it, as in put some water in it with some antifungal and antibacterial spray in there, and then I will rinse it by letting it sit and then drain it gently, so like not swirl it or not do anything to it, because it'll break up if it's all wet like that. So you have to be very gentle with it when it's wet, but it's nice to give it a nice flush, and then you can reuse it because this stuff is awesome. Okay, so I'm trying to think here, what am I going to do with these? We're going to get one more container. Here's this little dude. It's probably not going to make it. Put it in water. That little dude has no roots. It's tough being a little dude. We're doing a California break back here. And then we're going to do a bean dance. You ready for this bean dance? I'm shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. Living as a disco bean. Disco bean needs more dirt. I'll be back with more dirt. So this might be a little bit of overkill, but I do want it to be deep enough to grow some long roots. So what I'm going to do is start off with the Aureas. Oh my god, they're underwater. Their little roots look all dried up. So I'm going to these little dudes in here. This one has been struggling since day one. This little one up front. Hope it makes it. I lost a few of them. I lost maybe 3 of my Aureas, which are quite precious for me. But the ones that are surviving, like these guys, are all looking pretty healthy. That one's doing okay. Those are the Aureas, and then in between I'm gonna put some of the Thai constellation. That way it's not overkill and not too much soil, because what will happen if it's too much soil is that it will stay wet. The plant won't be able to drink all of that moisture, and then it gets all moldy and you get root rot and so on. So by putting extra plants, it helps pull that water, and they all need the same thing here, so they can be buddies, little buddies. Now I don't know what to put in the middle. Oh, I have one more Thai constellation. Who would have thought? Let's have more Thai constellations. Alright. Sweet. That is still a lot of soil because it's deep, so I have to be careful not to overwater this one. And keep it nice. Okay, so what did we have? We had 56, 57, and then we had 4 of these little guys. Okay. 61, what an odd number. At least to me. So odd. So I actually faced all of these little guys the same direction that they were already facing. As in, oriented everyone accordingly. So that way when I rotate this, they don't get all lopsided. The little ones are so small that it really doesn't matter, honestly. Like this little guy right here. I think he's facing the wrong direction. Maybe this one too. So for like the next week, I have to water it very gently and mainly from the top because the roots for these plants are at the top. They're not very long yet. So I have to keep the top layer wet and not the bottom, which is hard to do sometimes. But I'll do it with my little, you know, spray bottle, and it's easy to get directly on the base of the plant and just get that little area around the plant to keep the roots wet when they're still small. Like that. here, there's a couple plants that I did, gosh, I don't know, months ago now, like 3 months ago. These are mint monsteras, and they are about yay high. This is like, I don't know, 3 inches tall at this point, and they're doing really good. But there is something I noticed. It could just be the plant. I'll have to do this to more plants to be sure, but this one's been growing under the artificial light. This has been growing under the natural light. And what I noticed is that the natural light one, this one here, has more of like a green kind of tinge to the leaf, especially at the tip. It could just be the plant. Versus this one's more scattered. It's like more organized, the green, I don't know, or disorganized, more chaotic. But there is a difference, I don't know, one looks more minty, this one here looks more minty in the natural light, this one looks more green. I don't know. Minty, they're both mint monsteras though. So I'm pretty happy with them. They are growing quickly. People always say they grow slow, which I'm finding them to grow at a normal rate, not necessarily quickly. But they're growing like all my other Thai constellations and all of my other small monsteras do. So here's what we did today. We ended up with 4 of these trays. And that gives us, what, 13 per, which is 52 in these 4. And then I have some extra ones in some areas that I put on the side. And then we have our 2 mint monsteras over here from last time. There you go. So my little babies are doing really good. People ask if it's hard to keep them. I personally don't find it too hard so long as you do pay attention to them every single day and water them when needed, and do not overwater them. If you do it in the fluval and that little black pumice stuff, it's easiest to not grow bacteria and not rot your little plants, but you can do whatever you want. Moss is a good option too. So I'm going to finish up by doing something that I think might be overkill. Kind of worried about this. So what I want to do is, let's milk these babies. What I want to do is take this big old pole. This is why I think it's overkill. Oh my goodness. Let's bring it over here. I have this really heavy pot, and I have this pole that's really tall. It's like an old bed, like the little slats for the bed, you know? So like I cut all the little, whatever you call that, the connection between them. And I want to give my philodendron yoepi, I have a variegated yoepi, and I want to give it this pole so that it can feel like a sexy girl. She's over here, and then she'll start to climb on this pole. The thing is, I think the pole might be overkill, but it's really not overkill because I think the plant will take to it and hopefully grow to a larger size quicker. I don't know if it's the right kind of pole. That's one thing I worry about. And I also don't know if it's going to be just like too big where it's going to topple over. But that's what I want to do. So we're going to do that. I'm worried about this because obviously this plant is special. I don't know if you know what a variegated Yoepi is, but these plants are special. And it's not variegating as much as I want it to, so I definitely want to make sure that it has what it needs and then put it in some bright light so those colors can come back out. I'm seeing it, but not enough. So I'm going to get some soil for this. It has to be the right soil. I'm going to add some extra moss and add some, what's it called? Vermicula is the thing I'm thinking about, to keep any little fungus gnats or anything away from it. So let me go get that, and I'll be back in a second. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. I haven't disrupted this plant in at least over a year, and it's been really happy in this pot. Happy as in growing steadily, but I think it can do better. I have some soil I had pre-mixed, and I went kind of heavy on the moss for this soil, so it's mossy, and I'm hoping that will help my little plant. I've noticed the philodendrons don't take to soil much. They do better with the moss. So let's try that out. Okay, so first I want to put the soil behind it to make sure like it doesn't fall that way. And I'm going to spill this everywhere, so let me make sure I get it all over the table at least. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Kind of want to fill it with the pole leaning towards me, because when the pole leans that way, it's obviously going to squish stuff, so I want to make sure I have additional stuff to squish, if that makes sense. Okay, I didn't do too bad spilling. Make sure it's like all the way at the ground, because that's where it's going to pull water from. Okay. And then as far as like pulling the plant out of the pot, I don't want to disrupt its roots, so I'm kind of going to grab the soil, like claw it, and just plop it in there, kind of like these. I know that these little roots are all embedded pretty deep into the soil though, because I can see them sometimes, so I'm going to try to just break up the soil to loosen up the roots without disturbing the roots, but I don't know if I'll be successful. I like taking my finger and going underneath it. Okay, I got a pretty good amount of root actually. I thought it was shorter than that. So I'm going to pull a little bit of soil back out of here to make sure those roots sink all the way down to the bottom. Didn't plan on this, so now I have to actually just dump it onto the table. Because I don't want to push the roots down. Make sure they're already where they need to be as far as the depth. Ah, this is a disaster now. Okay. Okay. They're in there. In the front, I'm going to put some more soil in the back. Make sure it's nice and tight back there. I'm pushing on the parts where I know I didn't put the root, and I'm kind of pushing down on those parts, but don't push down where your roots are, that way you don't rip them. Okay. Alright, for the most part, it's where I want it to be, and the pole feels pretty secure. And there's a little bit of moss like right in between the plant and the pole, which should keep it moist. I'm going to add a little bit of more moss there, and it will help the plant hold on to that pole where it's supposed to. Okay. Talk about overkill, I just hit the ceiling. This pole's so large. So that's like a big change for my little plant. I took a lot of its old soil away. I'm going to add a little bit just on top. Especially close to the plant so those little roots can find their regular soil in case they're in shock. All right. that. Perfect. All right, my little plant. Woo! New pot. I got this little plant when it was the size of a quarter, maybe smaller. It was a teeny little plant. So I'm pretty proud of it. How far it's gone. It was my first tissue culture. It was a big deal because I couldn't afford the plant, you know, growing up. So yeah, that might be a little bit of overkill as far as the size of the pole at the time. Like now, it might feel that way. But I think that it will take onto that pole. If I spray the pole, if I keep the pole wet, the plant should want it. So that's one of the things I'm going to have to do daily for the next, I don't know how many days. Make sure that the pole starts to take in some water. And see if this plant will start to grow some roots on it. And if it does start to grow some roots, it will start to grow up pretty quick because philodendrons are almost like, I wouldn't call them parasitic plants. They're epiphytes. They try to grow on other plants, basically. So they don't really care too much for soil. They do care to adhere onto things that have moisture. So that's the goal here. Go, little dude. Pretty happy with my little tissue culture. So that's how they're doing. These little dudes are doing well, all of them. And then this little guy, I think I've had it for maybe longer than I should say, because it should be bigger by now, I have a feeling. It's been about 3 years with that one, and it's finally gotten a permanent home where it's going to sit for at least the next 4 to 5 years, I think, depending on how fast it grows, since I really don't know. But it is a pretty nice place for it to live for a while, so I don't have to mess with it. Anyway, I'm going to drink some of my bubbly, and then I'm going to do a bean dance, and then I'm going to get out of here. Because it is time. Alright, let me move this out of the way. Pull my pants up. Alright. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. I'm shaped like a jelly bean. Living as a disco bean. Thanks for hanging with my bean stream and my planties.